need to agree to fees
Okay.
in a pretty quick fashion.
Hey, will you put that on the agenda for next week?
Yeah.
So the fee structure.
And I had told Tom, I said, so get a hold of this individual and tell them that you have not accepted their application and their check because the town board is in discussion about changing the fees. I did that on my own, thinking that you would agree with that tonight, and I would change that comment to him tomorrow morning if he, if we
No, I
weren't
think it's
agreed to that.
fair.
I think we need to look at that. I
Do
mean,
we
there's
have a fee table somewhere that we can go look at?
You know
It's in
what?
process right now.
I know
Is it
where
in-
mine is, I can get it out, and I can forward it to you.
It's in your minutes from the first board meeting, in the agenda packet, we included the whole entire fee schedule. Is what's
First
current.
board meeting of the year.
Good, pardon me.
What
First
is
board
it?
meeting of the year.
Yeah, it's in your packet.
Only little things
We
change,
include
like
that?
if you want 4 picnic tables, and I deliver
Yeah,
4
right.
picnic
So
tables, they're
that's-
$10 a piece, or if you
Yeah,
want
the one.
cones, or you want bleachers or something like that, that's a different kind of fee.
That was a new
We're
fee.
talking
That was
about
a-
we're talking about a usage fee, a land usage, a park usage fee for different reasons for different individuals, and it's a nominal amount for some, and it's a big amount for people from off the island.
Town, adult, and school operated leagues, $100 per school, non-district.
I don't think it's in that fee
So let's look at it next week.
Yeah.
We'll circulate
I'll
it,
put it on
and
the-
we'll look at it next week.
Okay, and I'll resend it out to everybody. so-
Alright.
And I'll send the thing that was sent to me from Laura, when she was working there.
Okay,
Okay.
That's,
You want to do the Association of
Bev.
Towns thing first?
what is this?
That's the
Yeah.
solar law.
Oh,
So
here,
I'll make a
now.
motion that Bev and I represent us at the Association of Towns. Is that what we do?
You need one
One.
and an alternate.
Do you mind,
One.
do you mind if I do it with the
I can
alternate
see
of
it.
Bev?
Yes, that's
So it's
fine.
got all the comments from, that you sent to, and that Jim sent today,
Okay.
whenever, Friday.
So I will do it.
Second.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. I need to talk about, one more. Go ahead.
You're gonna be the alternate, and you're
Yes.
gonna go, cause
Yeah.
you haven't.
Are you gonna go?
Yeah.
Vote?
How long is the meeting?
What?
Are you
Vote? I'm gonna vote.
You're gonna go, so.
I should be
I'm
the alternate, yeah.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna drive down, because I'm gonna go to Albany to see if I can actually corral this guy from Ag and Markets to come up to see us. So I thought kill two birds with one
Yeah,
stone,
Ray
unless you
was
guys are
asking how long
against
the
it.
meeting was, but you said it was from like 8 to 10 or something?
Yeah, I'm gonna go try to visit his office and say, will you come
Well, I'm
see us,
taking a
please?
late flight out, so
So-
I'll be there.
So if he's not there Wednesday, so I'll put those down and send that in. Oh, that's very good.
Okay,
Everybody's registered?
Yes.
Cut off for the registration,
Yes.
27.
so the more sensitive thing I wanna talk about to you guys today, it's not that sensitive, but I mean, maybe you guys will see it differently than I see it. So we're struggling with this Dunlop building project, because every stage, it's like another issue, but it's a hard project. So give me 2 seconds to explain the situation, so everyone understands it. Looking at me. Well, okay, so for him to get the grant money, or the state money, for these state projects, you need to have a certain percentage of certified minority participation, weeby participation. So it's not just, doesn't mean just any guy who's minority, it means a guy who's been certified as qualified under state law to provide minority services. So what these companies do that are involved in these projects who wanna get state funding is they find certain weeby subcontractors or professionals they trust, okay? They don't just go to anybody, because the problem is they just, they wanna work with people they like and trust. And because the percentage of, I don't know what the percentage of this project is, but it's significant, they have to justify that they used, for example, 20% minority participation on the project. And the purpose of it is, simply put, is like an affirmative action project. So federal money or state money is being used that minority businesses get X amount of dollars. And if you don't do it this way, you don't get the grant money. So on this project, because it's so dependent on that $2 million grant, they won't get that money unless they can prove that they've had certified minority business partners involved in the process. And they can't just get one for drywall or whatever else. They usually designate in advance who they're going to use for what. So these guys have had they have their plumber, who's their minority plumber, minority certified plumber, okay? This guy does work all over the state. Now, because of the peculiarities of Grand Island town law, we don't do reciprocity here. You have to have a test under Grand Island law to become a plumber in Grand Island. And it's kind of a frankly, unless I'm wrong on this, it's a kind of a protectionist system, so we favor Grand Island plumbers. Now, this is a unique situation, because this guy needs to use his minority plumber to get the percentage for the contract. Now, why can't we just get the guy certified? Because we can. It's just a very lengthy process. And every minute of delay,
What's the process?
he's got to go take a test. To take the test, we have to ask this plumbing board to schedule a special date for the test.
That's here, that's all done.
It's all done here, but it takes time, and they want to literally start putting the plumbing in this week. Now, before I'll give you my ask in a second. So if this is the reason why I want to push this forward, if we get the plumbing done, the framing is done, a lot of electrical work is done, the plumbing is done, that's the point of no return. They have to finish the project if they get the plumbing done, because that's hundreds of thousands of dollars probably to do the plumbing for the project, and they want to start this week. So what my ask is for you to approve that we allow them to use this plumber, subject to this plumber's diligent seeking of certification in under Grand Island Code. So in other words, we allow him to start, we give him the green light, but then we also ask the plumbing board to hurry up and get in here and set up a test date, so we don't have a prolonged 2-month or 3-month delay where there's no plumbing work done on the project. So it's,
My thinking is, I'd like to meet who the plumber is, and or understand how he meets the minority status, before I go voting and approving something where I don't necessarily know for sure this person's a minority.
I can probably get you his minority certification tonight.
Yeah.
So when you, under state law, you can look up their minority status.
Because I've heard of manipulating that process too.
Okay, that's a good question.
It's
So,
the state.
But at the end of the day, if he's not, they don't get the funding, so why would they not do that?
there's no, the only reason why
There is people that manipulate the process, so.
Well, that's his problem.
That's what I'm thinking,
Well,
but
if we
it's-
vote for this particular
It's gotta
plumber,
be
it becomes our
inspected,
problem
right?
too.
We
it's gotta
vote-
be inspected.
I'm voting for, I might be voting for this guy to start his plumbing work without actually having a Grand Island plumbing license, with the idea that he will be getting his Grand Island
That's
plumbing
right.
license as soon as the plumbing board can schedule an exam and he passes the exam.
And he's certified in Amherst.
And
He's
the only
certified.
thing I would add to that is, and verification that he truly meets the minority status requirements.
So I think, but I get what you're saying. So that's fine with me.
Because I've done a lot of research on stuff like this, and there's companies that actually set themselves up as if they're a minority to meet these requirements, and they turn out to not really be, and I wouldn't wanna be part of that.
So I think we're okay with both of those. I'm happy with those.
There's,
Go ahead.
there's a
If it's something
caveat.
up, it's not a big deal.
Talking to Doug real quick out there, there's a caveat in this though. This guy's plumbers who work for him can then go do the work. But there was a comment here with Doug Williams, he said he was talking to 3 different people today, and he even talked to Jim, I believe, about the fact that this guy said, I don't have any plumbers to do the work, so I'm gonna hire a Grand Island plumber. That's okay, but now it's the Grand Island plumber, not this guy, whose guys are working.
So the question
So
is,
the question
yeah.
is, does this guy have the guys to work?
if it's
And
working,
that's his
so
problem.
if
but-
it's managed, this is what I believe the law was. If it's managed or reports to the minority operator, the status should count. So as long as it's under his umbrella business, it should count. But that's what, back to his point. So we have to make sure that the credit is
I
actual.
don't think I'm talking about that part.
Okay.
Not the minority part. I'm talking about the actual plumbing part. Like right now, if a plumber comes in for a permit to do a house, and he has somebody working in that house that's not his plumber, it's no good.
So we want to
You
make sure
shut
the
the
guy
job down, because what are you doing here?
the guy
You're not Erie Plumbing's guy. You're XYZ Company's guy.
So the
You're
guy
not-
we're
you're not
approving
allowed
to
to
do
be
the
in
work
here.
has actually got to do the work.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Guys, there's some legal points that are not appropriate to cover and right now, if you give me 2 minutes at the end of the session,
All
I'd
right,
like to
sure.
give you an update on it.
Do you think we're okay? Is there a legal point we should be aware of before voting us, giving us conditional approval? Because I'd like to make a motion.
Well,
to-
it sounds like he wants
yeah.
to, us advise us first.
Well,
Yes.
let's not kick everybody out until.
What's the last thing on the agenda?
Except agenda, do you finish agenda review?
Okay, want to do agenda review? Let's do agenda
Well,
review.
we got one other thing on the
That's it.
agenda.
What's the other thing?
That's the special use permit for 2769 Green Boulevard, which I assume.
Well, that's not on the agenda, but we thought about discussing it tonight too,
Oh, okay.
right? The question is, do we wanna suspend the rules upstairs in
Well,
order to do that? Peter,
we had the seeker, we have the negative declaration that would have to be approved. We could approve it here.
Do we have that though?
Yeah.
Does Bob have it?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
he's got everything in here, it's all set to go, and Bob says it's good to move forward. It's, he's gonna put,
It's a car dealership.
but not
Jeep.
even a car dealership, he fixes Jeeps on the side. So he just wants to be able to have a few Jeeps in the lot.
In other words,
I think
is
I can
that-
ask this question in public session, I don't think it makes any difference, even though it's your advice to us. So this gentleman has gone through the planning board and everything, and needs a special use permit. And we had to wait the 30 days, and now that 30 days is
County
up.
planning, is that what you're?
Pardon me?
You're waiting in county planning for 30 days?
Yeah, that's done, that's all done.
239
So now, can we issue a conditional special use permit? And then as he's going through the site plan process, we can add the conditions such as no dumpster on the property, which he's not gonna have anyway.
But that's
But-
done, that can be done with the site plan, right?
The town board, I believe, the town board makes conditions on a special use permit. The suggestions can come from the planning board or somewhere else, but we, the town board, when anybody comes in for a special use permit, we can say, we want you to put a fence over there. We want you to put this kind of landscaping in. We want you to put the dumpster around the back of the house. We want you to do this, we want you to do that, we want you to do that. And then the other question is, do we want to restrict it so that it can't become a car dealership with no outside vehicle, presentation? I don't know, I can't think of the right word for it.
What would be
But
the
this-
import of doing that tonight, right? Why issue?
Because,
step
because,
one,
of-
step two?
because if we don't, then
Because he's waiting to
he
close and.
needs to close on the property. He's already optioned it a second time.
I mean, you could potentially, I don't know that you can do it exactly what you're suggesting, because it does, you couldn't impose a condition, you either granted the permit or you haven't.
Yeah.
And you can't have a permit which you haven't, yet a condition that you haven't defined yet as part of the
And
approval.
and then what I was told about Westfall said that those conditions can be put on when they go to the planning board with the site plan, and that's where they would put the conditions on.
Don't
Yeah.
know that to be the case.
Sometimes,
So,
as
I
part of
mean,
the site plan approval.
Are you
could
gonna make it a
potentially
different
just-
special use permit for him than, I mean, this special use for car
I would think
dealer,
he
you
would
do
want
from
it.
the other one, like this dealer down the other end? I mean, what is different that you wanna put a condition on this special use permit?
You
Like Bob was suggesting, if the board is interested in saying, I don't want another car dealership down there.
Yeah.
Because if you just say it can be a car dealership, that means you can start putting however many cars he wants to out by the
So
road,
you're
fill it up,
suggesting-
put the sale signs in front of it, and the whole business. That's not what this guy wants to operate. This
So
guy
you're
wants to
suggesting a
operate.
special use permit with no display area, basically.
Yeah, that would be one of the conditions. Are
But
there
that
any other
might be in the
conditions
site
we
plan.
want?
So when you get to
That
the
would-
display area, things like that, now you're talking about site
Site
plan
plan.
modification things.
Yeah, that's why
So
he
you
kept going
could,
back
look,
to
if you wanted to give the guy something, let him know he's moving in our direction, you could approve a concept. You could say that we're okay with an approach. It doesn't give him the right to do anything, but you could conceptually approve what he's looking for and say, subject to issuance of permits, and site plan approval.
Because he's already had a public hearing.
Yeah, I mean, we can't guarantee, look, you can't have undefined conditions that you impose later, that just
Yeah.
doesn't work.
No.
You would wanna know right up front what those conditions are, how you think if
It
you're gonna
looks like
start a
He's
business.
putting a pole
You don't want
barn.
it changed after
couple
you
parking
go ahead and buy
spots.
the building and. I mean, if he knows what he wants, and he's not gonna do any of that, I guess that, those are the.
I mean, he's already got a conceptual plan, because he's already been before the planning board, we've already had a public
Yeah,
hearing.
he didn't, it's a cart before the horse thing. If he doesn't get the special use permit, he doesn't wanna go through the expense of going and having a professional draw up a site plan. So if he has the professional draw up the site plan, and then for some reason somebody says, no, well, no dice. Except it is also, to the best of my knowledge, a special use permit is almost as a right.
As a release.
Right. You can't deny the special use permit, you can put conditions on the special use permit,
Where the law allows.
where the law allows you to.
Let's try to make it simple.
I
It's
agree with
already-
that.
it's Already done the public hearing, and there
Right.
was no public outcry. What can we do to make this simple?
I'm thinking that the only thing that we may not want to happen down there is to become, let's say he gets to a point where he wants to sell the property. There's a special use permit for it to be a car dealership. And we start to get the display of
Untransferable.
cars, it is,
No, it
special
doesn't
use permit
carry
is,
over.
look at the property.
Goes to the land.
So do we care about that or do we not?
I care about that. Yeah, I think the use of the property is unique, and he's trying to, he wants to carve out a unique purpose for the property.
Right,
We don't want him to suddenly change his mind and sell it to
or
someone.
somebody else.
Right, and
So-
put like the worst used car dealership ever right down there.
So you're looking, and then it's still coming back to the same thing, what I'm hearing from both of you, special use, condition of no display area. Other than what
And then
the planning board,
You could do that, and then with approval from the planning board of the site plan? Can you say that?
Subject to.
Subject to the approval of site plan by the planning board?
Is the secret been done already? Did Bob do a neg deck?
yes,
So you got a neg deck done, county planning 239 referral is done.
Yeah.
The only thing that's not done is site plan approval.
Right,
That's the only thing that's outstanding.
right,
And the condition that you're talking about would usually be done as part of the site plan approval.
yeah, that's what,
Not as
that's what I
part of
was
this,
told,
so,
yeah.
I mean, you could, it's out
Okay,
of
so-
order from what's typical, but you could potentially approve it subject to the site plan approval.
well, here's the other deal, right? Maybe we don't have to do that, because the site plan approval comes from the planning board as a recommendation, right? They don't make the
That's
decision,
correct, ultimately the town board.
and then it
We
comes
can
to
adjust
us,
it then.
and if we need to, we can add that.
Yeah, so I'm all for approving the site, or the special use permit for car
I think that
dealership.
sounds like-
And then when the site plan comes through, if it's not to our liking, we can make adjustments then.
That sounds like it should work.
So why
So
don't we
we'd have
do the
to-
nightly declaration and
Here,
we
and
might,
then we should do it upstairs, we should suspend the rules.
Okay.
Well, we have to have everybody agree to that, because otherwise you can't do it.
I'm for it.
Okay,
So
okay,
then do neg deck first and then special.
yeah, let's do the, do it all upstairs.
Let's
right?
do upstairs.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I make a motion to move into executive session?
Mhm.
You gotta do the agenda.
Any comments on the agenda first? Okay,
Well, there's the solar law has been distributed, consistent with the edits that the deputy supervisor and councilman.
yeah, I'm gonna ask
for.
that we close the public hearing, but not vote on it tonight, and vote on it in 2 weeks to give us all time to digest the changes and what I did.
Well,
If you made
don't we have to
changes,
have
though-
another public hearing?
We're not,
You gotta do
not changes,
another one.
there was some
Yeah,
not
they-
significant,
I don't think so. I talked to Dan about that. He thought that the changes that were made were consistent with the feedback that you got during the public hearing. So that's kind of the idea of the public hearings. The public would give you feedback and you make whatever modifications you need
yeah,
to.
well, we've done that before, where we come with the draft law,
And made,
this draft law gets changed, and the new law doesn't look a lot like the old law, and we've had to have a public hearing on this new law.
yeah, it depends if there's something that, the question is there something fundamentally different that the public wouldn't have had the chance to comment on? So we come up with a new idea or a different approach at something. I think there were a couple of modifications that Dan worked through with these guys, and he was of the view that they weren't.
Well, I haven't had a chance to read. the
So it's-
text.
that's why I thought if we
In 2
close the
weeks.
public hearing, I'd give us 2 weeks to look through it. And I also got a lot of feedback from the planning board, and Dan and I both, I had Dan there at the meeting so that he could answer questions, and Bob Westfall was there also to go through that. We both had at least 2 pages, and that was minor tweaking too. Dan was, made a couple suggestions. We got feedback from the conservation board, I also got some feedback from the economic development board, along with feedback from the public
I haven't
hearing.
read this yet, but the feedback we got from Roger Cook was extensive. It would have changed the law drastically.
Dan thought it was,
You can have a further public hearing if you wanted to
Yeah.
be clear. I
Just,
mean,
just
if-
looking at this, the R1A, is this gonna allow the solar in R1A?
Yeah, what the compromise was, is that we would put minimum amounts of lots, like 25 acres for
That's
R1A.
minimal?
Huh?
That's minimal?
Minimum,
That's huge.
yes, but that was the compromise, because it was like, they were looking at all zones, and we thought, no, we don't want all zones, but they said there were some pieces of property
But
in
they could
R1A.
use 25 acre, they could actually set it up on a 25 acre
Yeah,
lot.
or with R1, B, C, and D, the minimum would be 15 acres.
You couldn't
Um,
apply for it unless you had those acres.
Yeah, you can apply for it once you've had those acres.
Hmm.
That keeps somebody from having 5 acres and wanting to do a solar farm and junior to a residential neighborhood or whatever. So that was a compromise,
And just note that if the next board meeting's in 3 weeks.
in 3 weeks. Yeah. Oh,
So
so then we have.
So we
that
want
much time.
a solar farm in a residential area, that would be okay,
There's
right?
certain pieces they looked at that would be underneath power wires, or they were looking at a piece behind the, town property that, you know, cause they were talking about possibly community solar someday, that is, you know, landlocked, and that, I think that's R1C or D. And so they looked at this specific piece of property that may be perfect because nobody else would build it. EED property, was property that, Dan said that a lot of people aren't putting solar on. So that's why they put it in there, but they put a minimum so that it would have to be a lot of acreage.
Could we make it so that the town board has to review and approve such?
I do.
Do we?
Yeah, we
anyways,
would go
okay.
through,
You
it
do.
would
You
go
have
through the
full
planning
control of that.
board, it would come to us,
You have secret.
public hearing, seeker, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, you couldn't just stick it there. Utilities have different rules, of course, if they're big things, and then that's a different animal. You know. But anyway, yeah, I didn't have any intentions of putting it to a vote tonight, cause I just got it myself to look through.
Any other comments on the
Just wanna
agenda?
close the hearing.
Okay, I'll make a motion to move to executive session.
Second.